Imagine this. You pull out your phone, you type one sentence, and 30 seconds later, there is a fully produced song playing back to you. Vocals, melody, lyrics, a beat, all of it, from nothing. That is not a concept. That is not a prototype being tested in some lab. That is something 750 million people woke up and had access to on February 18th, 2026. Google flipped a switch, and overnight, making music became as easy as sending a text message. But here is what nobody is talking about. While everyone was reacting to the feature, the real story was happening underneath it. Because this tool did not land in a peaceful industry. It landed in one that was already bleeding. There are lawsuits. There are protest albums made of pure silence. There are thousands of working musicians watching their income disappear in real time. And now, the biggest technology company on Earth just handed their most dangerous competitor to 750 million people for free. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly what Google built, what it is doing to the people who actually make music for a living, and who is really winning this war right now. By the way, if you enjoy this video, hitting that like button and subscribing will genuinely help me to make more videos like this. If you are ready, let's get into it. So, what did Google actually build? Lyria 3 is Google DeepMind's third-generation music AI, and the jump from the previous version is significant. Lyria 2, which launched in mid-2025, was an instrumental-only tool buried inside Google's enterprise cloud platform. Developers could access it. Normal people could not. Lyria 3 is different. It sings. You give it a text description, and it generates a complete song, melody, rhythm, harmony, instruments, a synthetic vocalist, and lyrics it writes by itself. According to Google DeepMind's official documentation, the output is a 30-second stereo track at 48 kilohertz and 16-bit audio, which is technically a higher bit depth than YouTube Music's standard streaming quality. It also generates cover art for the track automatically. But here is the thing that actually matters. It is not sitting on some developer platform. Google put it directly inside the Gemini app, the same app that, according to Google's own figures, is used by over 750 million people every single month. That is the move, not the technology, the placement. And it goes further than text. According to Google's official product documentation, you can upload a photograph and get music that matches its mood. You can drop in a video clip and receive a synchronized soundtrack. You can hum a melody, and the AI develops it into a full arrangement. For developers, there is a live streaming version called Lyria Realtime, and at Google I/O in May 2025, musician Toro Y Moi used it to improvise live on stage, jamming in real time with the AI, using prompts like chaotic conga player. He told the audience everything was completely unplanned. That moment became one of the most discussed clips from the entire conference, because it did not look like automation. It looked like collaboration. Google also embedded something called SynthID into every track the model generates. According to Google DeepMind, it is an invisible watermark that survives compression, speed changes, and even re-recording through a physical speaker. The idea is that AI-generated music can be identified and flagged even after someone tries to disguise it. That detail matters more than it sounds. We will come back to why. Now, let us talk about what this is landing into. Because the music industry in February 2026 is not a calm place. I want you to picture something. In December 2025, more than 1,000 professional musicians, including Paul McCartney, released an album. It went to press. It had track listings. It had a title, Is This What We Want? And every single track on it was silence. Not quiet music. Silence. Recordings made in empty studios, just the ambient hum of a room where music used to be made. That was the statement. That was how seriously working musicians felt about where things were heading. That moment did not come out of nowhere. In April 2024, over 200 artists, including Billie Eilish, Stevie Wonder, Nicki Minaj, Katy Perry, Pearl Jam, and John Bon Jovi, signed an open letter coordinated by the Artist Rights Alliance, calling out what they described as the predatory use of AI to steal professional artists' voices and likenesses. 200 names. That letter got headlines for a week and then disappeared. The tools kept coming anyway. And here's why the fear is real, not just dramatic. A UK music survey published in 2025 found that 66% of working creators in the UK believe AI is a direct threat to their careers. But the nuance is important. Nobody is scared that AI is going to replace Beyoncé. Beyoncé has a brand, a touring business, a cultural presence that no model can replicate. What AI threatens is the invisible layer of music. The session musicians, the jingle writers, the producers making lo-fi tracks for study playlists and podcast intros and corporate videos. The people whose work you have heard 10,000 times without knowing their names. A Music Producers Guild survey found that nearly 40% of production music composers reported declining commissions in 2025, with AI tools cited as a direct contributing factor. The legal system tried to intervene. In June 2024, the RIAA, which is the Recording Industry Association of America and represents all three major labels, sued both Suno and Udio, the two biggest AI music startups, alleging they had trained their models on copyrighted recordings without permission or payment. It looked like war, and then, within 18 months, two of the three labels folded. Universal Music Group settled with Udio in October 2025 and announced they were planning a joint platform together. Warner Music settled with both Suno and Udio by November 2025. Sony Music is still litigating, so the legal resistance, which was supposed to be the industry's strongest weapon, collapsed faster than almost anyone predicted. Which brings us back to Google, and this is where it gets genuinely murky. The company says Lyria 3 was trained on music it has the right to use under YouTube's terms of service and partner agreements. But Music Ally, one of the most respected trade publications in the music industry, described that specific phrase as language for lawyers to applicably discuss. That is a careful way of saying it does not actually tell you anything. And there is a relevant backstory here. Billboard previously reported that Google had trained earlier AI music models on copyrighted recordings before approaching rights holders at all. That reporting has not been walked back. It just got buried under the announcement. Meanwhile, the volume of AI music flooding streaming platforms has reached a scale that is almost hard to process. Deezer reported that approximately 50,000 fully AI-generated tracks are uploaded to music platforms every single day, which is 34% of all daily song deliveries. And according to the same data, those tracks account for about 0.5% of actual streams. So listeners are not choosing it, but it fills catalogs, dilutes search results, and compresses the royalty pools that human artists draw from. Suno alone, according to music industry tracking data, generates approximately 7 million AI tracks per day. 7 million per day. So where does Lyria 3 fit inside all of this? Honestly, technically it is not the best product available. Suno released version 5 of their model in September 2025, and it generates tracks up to 8 full minutes long with natural vocals, verse-chorus structure, and real musical sophistication. According to TechCrunch, Suno pulled in $200 million in annual revenue and raised $250 million at a $2.45 billion valuation in November 2025. They have served around 100 million users. That is a serious, fully scaled business. Tech review site TechAU ran a direct comparison between Lyria 3 and Suno version 5, using identical prompts, and concluded plainly that Suno was the clear winner in musical depth and quality. Udio, which was founded by former Google DeepMind and Spotify researchers, is going through a survival pivot after its label settlements, transforming from an open generator into a licensed fan platform, where artists opt in and users remix within those boundaries. Their monthly traffic sits around 2.3 million visitors compared to Suno's 43 million. OpenAI is reportedly working on a music tool, but as of February 2026 has announced nothing. In China, ByteDance's Seed Music operates inside the Dubao app, with voice cloning and style transfer capabilities across more than 11 genres, but remains focused on the Chinese market. So if Lyria 3 loses on quality, why does it matter so much? Because Google is not playing the quality game. They never were. Suno has 100 million total users. Gemini has 750 million monthly active users right now. Google's strategy is not to build the best AI music studio. It is to make music creation so frictionless, so embedded inside a tool people already use to do everything else, that generating a song becomes as automatic as sending a message. You do not go looking for it. It is just there. And the 30-second limit, which every reviewer has pointed out, feels less like a technical constraint and more like a deliberate opening position. And that SynthID watermark starts to make more sense in this light. Because when 50,000 AI tracks a day are flooding platforms and nobody can tell what is human and what is not, the company that controls the infrastructure for identifying AI music has enormous power. Google is not just making music, it is building the pipes. Here's what I keep coming back to. That protest album of silence. 1,000 musicians trying to be heard by making no sound at all. There is something genuinely poetic and genuinely sad about that image. Because the people most affected by these tools, the session players, the working composers, the producers who spent years learning their craft, they do not have 750 million monthly users. They have an empty studio and a declining inbox. Whether AI music is a creative revolution or an economic displacement depends almost entirely on who you are when the technology arrives. If you are a casual creator who just wants a soundtrack for a video, Lyria 3 is a gift. If you are someone whose livelihood depended on making that soundtrack, it is something else entirely. What Google released on February 18th, 2026 was one move in a game that has been building for years and is nowhere near finished. The labels are making deals. The lawsuits are settling. The tools are getting better. And the people caught in the middle are still waiting to find out what the music industry decides they are worth. Drop your take in the comments. I genuinely want to know where you stand on this. And if you made it this far, please like the video. See you in the next one.